ngayong araw, i-discuss natin yung Chapter 3 ng partnership. Nung nakaraang topic na discuss na ng unang group, yung Chapter 2 and Chapter 1, which is the general provision and the obligation ng partnership. Doon nalaman natin kung ano yung pag pumasok ang dalawang tao sa isang partnership, nagkaroon sila ng agreement, meron daw nakapalaw din doon ang general provision and sa chapter 2 naman ang obligation ng bawat partners. So ngayon naman, lumako tayo sa chapter 3 which is dissolution and winding up. So, dissolution and winding up. So ito yung process na kapag umayaw ng isang partner or kapag madidissolve na ang partnership. So kung nung nakaraan, na topic ang general provision and obligation, ngayon naman, i-discuss natin kung paano ang process para ma-dissolve ang isang partnership. So, sabi daw, mayroong tatlong stages ng partnership. The dissolution, the winding up, and the termination. So, dissolution under the Article 1828, sinasaad doon na it is the change in the relation of the partners caused by any partner ceasing to be associated in the carrying on the business. So, sinasabi lang sa Article 1828 na dissolution daw is, for example, nasa partnership kayo, pumasok kayo, halimbawa si A, B, and C is a partnership, and then si A is umayaw na. So, pwede yung magkaroon ng dissolution or mapapawalang visa na yung kanilang partnership. So, under naman ng winding up, it is the process of settling business affairs after the dissolution. So, yun naman, napag-desisyonan na ng partnership na i-dissolve yung kanilang agreement, and then hindi pa basta-basta yun agad-agad na pag na-dissolve, na automatic dissolve na agad, may process pang tinatawag ng winding up. Dito sa process na to, lahat ng assets, lahat ng liabilities ay i-liquidate, lahat ng assets, lahat ng liabilities mo ng partnership ninyo babayaran, and lahat ng assets nyo ibebenta para magkaroon kayo ng outcome na kung magkano yung makapabalik sa inyo, kung magkano yung kita ng isang partnership. So, example ng winding up is the paying of previous obligation, the collecting of assets, previously demandable. Yun na nga, yung obligation, isa-settle lahat ng obligation ng partnership ay isa-settle bago tayo dumating sa termination. So, ang termination is the last part, the final stage ng partnership. Ito yung point na nabayaran na, na-liquidate na lahat ng asset, lahat ng obligation na bayad na. Ito na yung process na ma-dissolve na yung After this process, yung partnership na ginawa ninyo is dissolved na. So, dako tayo sa Article 1828. Sinasabi nga sa Article 1828 na yung dissolution, it is a process or yung change in that relation of partners caused by any partner ceasing to be associated with the relating act, distinguished from the winding up of the business. So, ito ibig sabihin, umayaw na yung isa sa partner mo. So, kaya nagkaroon ng dissolution. So, ano nga ba yung effect of change in membership of a partnership? Una, the solution of existing partners and formation of a new one. So, sabi dito, any change in the membership of a partnership produces technically an immediate dissolution. So, once na isang member ng partnership is umayaw na, so, magkakaroon na ng immediate dissolution. Kasi, sabi nung nakaraan yung will of partners. So, hindi mo naman parang definite siya, yun nga, yun. And after the dissolution, kapag na-terminate na, so, pwede bumuo ng bagong partnership ang mga members in other partnerships. So, transformation of all partners into incoming partners. All persons forming new partnership upon admission of any person are technically incoming partners, even though the same business had before been conducted by others through the medium of partnership. So, ang sinasabi dito na kapag ang isang partnership is yun naman na-terminated na, so pwede sila ulit bumuo ng bagong partnership with other persons na. And last is the continuance by remaining partners of partnership as before. So, sinasabi dito sa number 3 is magkaroon ng resolution, hindi ito magiging parang hindrance sa ibang members para mag-continue. Kung gusto pa rin ng, halimbawa, ABC company na, ABC partnership, si A lang yung umayaw, and then nagkaroon sila ng process of dissolution, settle na lahat ng obligation, na-terminate na sila. Si PNC, if gusto nilang ituloy yung partnership nila sa ibang members, pwede po nila yung gawin. So, hindi hindran si A para mag-continue yung remaining partners na magawa agad ng new partners. So, under naman ang Article 1829, dissolution, the partnership is not terminated but continues until the winding up of partnership affair is completed. So, sinasabi sa Article 1829 na hindi daw terminated yung partnership kasi nga pag na-dissolution, hindi naman agad-agad basta-basta na pag nasa process ng dissolution na mati-terminate agad yung partnership na yun. Kasi dadaan pa naman baga sa process. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, dadaan pa sa yung isa-settle pa yung obligation, bilhin lahat ng assets, bago ma-terminate yung isang partnership. So, until the winding up of a partnership affair is completed. Once na matapos na yung winding up ng partnership, doon na magkakaroon ng termination. Ito yung sinasaad sa 1829. So, effect of dissolution. Partnership is not terminated. Yun, hindi agad-agad na-terminate ang isang partnership kasi dadaan sila sa process. Magkakaroon pa sila ng transaction. Ang pinagbabawal dito is that sa susunod natin mga articles, yung mayroon pa rin transaction pero limited purpose lang. So, ito na yung sinasabi natin. Partnership continues for limited purpose. Paano yung limited purpose ang sinasabi? Ang sinasabi dito, magkakaroon pa rin ng transaction pero limited lang. Halimbawa, si partnership, kasi nga yung may winding up process pa, isa-settle pa lahat ng obligation, lahat ng asset. So, meron pa rin silang transaction. Pero kung sasabihin mo, makikipag-transact, halimbawa ABC partnership, makikipag-transact si letter A sa ibang businesses, yun yung pinagbabawal. Ito yun sa number 3, transaction of two businesses prohibited. Yun yung bawal. Pwede pa sila mag-transact pero for limited purpose. Halimbawa, for liquidation, calculating na assets, settling obligation. Yun lang yung sinasabi. Next is that Article 1830 naman, sinasad naman dito yung cost ng dissolution. So itong 1830, pasok siya sa extrajudicial causes. Extrajudicial causes ng dissolution. Para madaling yung matandaan kung ano yung mga extrajudicial causes ng dissolution, ang term niyan is that LI, VI, DNW. Ano ibig sabihin ng acronym na yun? L stands for loss, I stands for insolvency, V or as in victory stands for violation of agreement, and I stands for interdiction or civil interdiction, D stands for debt, U stands for unlawfulness, and W stands for without violation. So yun yung extrajudicial causes ng dissolution. Isa-isa rin natin yun. Ano nga ba yung without violation of agreement between the partners. So ang dissolution, pwede siyang ma-dissolve, ang partnership pwede siyang ma-dissolve kahit walang violation of the agreement. Kahit hindi na-violate, halimbawa walang violation yung nagaganap, pwede po yung dissolve ang partnership. Bakit? Sinasabi dito, by termination of a definite term, a particular undertaking is specified in the agreement. So, dito sinasaad sa number 1, letter A, termination of definite term. Halimbawa ay nag-expire na, ang sinasabi lang dito ay yung nag-expire na yung contract nyo, yung agreement nyo. Pwede naman dissolve yung isang partnership. Halimbawa, si A, B, and C partnership, kahapon lang or nung nakaraang linggo is nag-expire na yung term nila. Nakasaad sa agreement nila na sila ay partnership until last week. So, ibig sabihin, after nun, pwede na silang dissolve. Next naman is by the express will of any partners who must act in good faith. Sinasabi naman dito na ang partnership ay pwede ma-dissolve kahit hindi pa tapos yung term ninyo, pwede siyang ma-dissolve by the will of any partner. Kung gusto yung ni A na i-dissolve yung partnership ninyo, pwede po yun. Basta si letter A or si A is acting good faith, pwede ma-dissolve yun. Next naman, by the express will of all the partners. Kung yung sa una, pinagkaiba, will of any partners, pwedeng mag-dissolve or kapag basta kung ayaw na siya sa partnership, pwede po yun. Dito naman sa isa, all the partners. Pinag-uusapan dito lahat ng partners na ito. And lastly is by expulsion of any partners from the business qualified in accordance with such a power by agreement between the partners. Under the 1830, naandyan din yung income correction in the agreement between partners where the circumstances do not permit a dissolution under any other provision in this article with the express will of any partner at the time. Next naman is the event that being unlawful for business. Ito na yung sinasabi ko sa letter A, yung unlawful business. So, ano example nito? Halimbawa, si ABNC partnership ay nag-decide na kayo ng video okay rin kasi sa Pilipinas, ang mga Filipino singers, mga parakanta ang hindi kumanta. Kaya naisipan ni ABC na magtayo ng video okay. Nagrenta sila ng video okay. Ngayon after ng ilang months, few months after, nagkaroon ng Philippine government is nag-issue na ganito nga daw. Ang video okay daw, let's say for example, ang video okay daw is nakakamatay. Ganyan. So, nagkaroon ng immediate action ng government na ipa-dispose lahat ng video okay dito sa buong Pilipinas. So, doon na nagkakaroon ng unlawful business. Naging unlawful na yung business ninyo kasi from the start, lawful pa siya, pwedeng wala pang kumbaga na and then naging unlawful siya after a few months. So, yun yung sinasabing unlawful business. Next, by death of any partner. Siyempre, patay na yung partner, alam hindi nyo pa mag-continuous pa rin. Although pwede mag-continuous, pero alam mag-continuous pa rin si partner na namatay dun sa partnership. So, next is insolvency of any partnership. The civil interdiction and the decree of court under the following article. Sinasabi sa civil interdiction, deprive the offender during the time of his sentence of the right to manage his property or dispose of such property by the act or any conveyance interdict. So sinasabi mo sa civil interdiction, parang last will and testament ata ito. Doon yung sinasabi sa civil interdiction. So sa article 1831 naman, dito pumapasok yung judicial process ng dissolution. Kung sa article 1830, yung extrajudicial, pag sinabi kasi natin extrajudicial, parang hindi na siya kailangan dumaan ng Supreme Court, hindi na siya kailangan ng ruling ng Supreme, pwede na siyang dissolve. And partnership can dissolve, without the ruling of the court. Dito naman sa 1831, the judicial process, when we say judicial, kung baga kailangan dadaan siya sa parang due process, dadaan siya sa court ruling, dadaan siya sa yun. An application by or for a partner in account shall decree a dissolution whenever. So, tandaan natin sa 1831, para mabilis matandaan kung ano yung judicial process ng dissolution. Ang acronym ko dito ay ILIBOG. I stands for insanity, L stands for loss, incapacity for letter I, and B, breach of partnership agreement. O stands for other circumstances, and letter G stands for guilty. I-discuss natin yun isa-isa. So, ayan na nga sinasabi dito. A partner has been declared insane. Siya na ito yung sinasabi ko, insanity. Yung, once na ang partner yung declare na insane, pwedeng magkaroon ng judicial processes or proceeding para magkaroon ng dissolution ng isang partnership kapag ang partnership ay na-declare na insane. And a partner become in any other way incapable of performing his part of the partnership contract. Kasi nasabi doon sa chapter 2, the obligation of partnership, kung alam niya naman, partnership is may obligation sila. Once ang isang partner mo or ang other partners ay incapable na, hindi na, kumbaga nagkakaroon na ng aberya, nagkakaroon na ng komplikasyon sa kanyang duties and responsibilities, hindi na niya nagagawa ng ayos ang kanyang duty, yung obligation niya, pwede po tayo mag-come up sa resolution. Next naman is a partner has been guilty of such conduct. So ayun, nagkakaroon na ng parang maling nagkaka-guilty rin yung partner, pwede na rin ma-dissolve yung partner mo. I mean, partnership. A partner willfully or persistently commit a breach of partnership agreement. So, persistent, na once ang isang partner is persistent na nagko-commit ng breach of agreement, parang ano na rin kasi ito na didisobey na siya dun sa agreement na napagkasundoan ng isang partner, pwede na kung dissolve yung partnership. Next is the business of the partnership can only be carried on at loss. So, ito yung loss na sinasabi ko. Once na nagkaroon na ng loss, ayun, possible pa rin kung magkaroon na resolution. And lastly is other circumstances render of the solution is other circumstances. On the application of the purchaser of a partner interest under the Article 1813 and 1814, siguro nasa chapter 2 ito, after the termination of the specified term or particular undertaking. Yan yung sinasabi ko na, once na na-reach na yung term ninyo, pwede na magkaroon ng solution. At any time, the partnership was a partnership at will when the interest was assigned or when the charging order was issued. So, yan. Ano naman sinasaad sa Article 1832? Sinasaad sa Article 1832 and sa Article 1833 ang tawag doon, liabilities ng partnership pag nagkaroon ng dissolution. Kasi sa dissolution nga, yung sabi ko sa winding up process, bago ma-terminate ang isang partnership, bago po walang isa, dadaan sila sa process ng winding up. At yun, anong magiging liabilities ni partner kung sakaling magkaroon ng conflict? Yun yung sinasaad sa Article 1832 and Article 1833. So sabi daw, 1832 except so far as may be necessary to wind up partnership affairs or to complete transaction begun not then finish the solution terminate all authority of any partner for the act of partnership. The solution terminate all authority. So tina-terminate the solution lahat ng authority ng partnership to act for the partner. So not allowed dito yung pumasok sila sa bagong transaction. Pero dinidisregard na nito yung sa Article 1829. Kasi sa process ng winding up, yun nga, hindi limited purpose pa yung transaction nila. Dinidisregard niya yun. Although pwede mag-transaction isang partnership. Pero nililimit lang sa Article 1832, hindi ina-allowed na makipag-transact sa ibang ano magiging liabilities once na may ganong conflict, mamaya i-discuss natin yun. Dito, with respect to the partners, when the solution is not by the act. Ano yung example ng not by the act? Halimbawa, example nito is, na yun, example ko sa inyo is yung nag-expire na yung terms nila, na-reach na yung terms nila. So, yun yung example ng not by the act. Kasi hindi naman ginawa. As in, na-reach lang yung term nila, kaya kailangan nilang ma-dissolve. Ngayon halimbawa si ABC partnership is na-reach na yung term nila, na-expire na yung term nila. Ngayon, for example, pumasok sa transaction, si A, si B, and si C, alam nila na nag-expire na yung term nila. So may naging sila doon, alam nila yung lahat. Ngayon for example, pumasok sa transaction, nakipag-transact kay Y, ay kay X lang. Nakipag-transact si A kay X. So ano magiging liabilities dito? General rule ng 1832 and ng 1833, partnership is liable. Liable po sa partnership doon. Pero since may knowledge sila lahat alam ni A, ni B, and C na nag-expire na yung term nila, liable yung partnership nila, magbabayad si A, si B, and si C, bayad sila sa liabilities, kasi sinasabi ka na bawal makipag-transact. Authority, partnership to act of a partnership. Bawal sila makipag-transact, bawal sila pumasok sa other transactions, sa other businesses. Ngayon, magbabayad sila, pero si B and si C pwede mag-ask ng reimbursement kay A. Kasi si A lang yung nakipag-transact. Alam naman ni A na expired term nila. Pwede po si B and si C na mag-ask for reimbursement. Anong sinasaad naman sa when the solution is such insolvency or debt under ito ng Article 1834. Hindi dapat tayo 1832. Yun nga. The dissolution being is such by act. Ano yung example ng act? Halimbawa, si A, B, and C partnership ay si AA nag-resign. Ang resign is an act. So, halimbawa na lang, A, B, C. Si A nag-resign. So, si B possibility na alam ni B. Si B ay may knowledge. Si C is notified lang or nabigyan lang siya ng notice na si AA magre-resign. So, sinasabi dito, example na si A nakipag-transact kay Y, kay X. So, may liability pa rin si partner doon. Pero, may exemption sa letter C. Si C, since notified lang siya, kumbaga, not sufficient yung kasi notified lang siya na, kumbaga, not sufficient yung knowledge na kung sa kanya. Hindi niya alam na nag-resign pala si A. Not clear na nag-resign si A kasi notified lang si C, unlike kay B na aware si B kasi alam ni B. Let's say for example, yun na nga. Si B, since may knowledge, siya po ang si B and C, may liability pa rin sila, pero si C ang pwede mag-ask for reimbursement. Ano po? So, ano naman sila sa Article 1833? Where the dissolution is caused by act, debtor, solvency of a partner, each partner is liable to his co-partner for his share of any liability created by any partner acting for partnership. So, ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina pa na may liability ang partnership pagdating sa pagkakipag-transact siya kasi act for partnership. Kapag nag-transact siya sa other businesses, may liability si partnership. May liability rin yung co-partner niya to share any liability with others. Kasi ang general rule nito ng 1832 and 1893 is the partnership has liability. So yun yung sinasabi ko. Dako naman po tayo sa 1832, 1834 rather. And discuss sa atin yung susunod na person.
So next thing we discuss is the Article 1834. Ito yung after the dissolution. A partnership, a partner can bind a partnership except as provided in the third paragraph in this article. So basically, sinasabi lang naman dito sa first paragraph is kung paano liable nga ba ang isang partnership. So by an act appropriate for writing up, partnership appears in or complete transaction and finish and dissolution, or by any transaction which could bind partnership in dissolution and not taking place, provided the other party to transaction. So ito yung mga posibleng nangyayari kapag hindi natapos ang partnership ang isang transaction bago naman mag-dissolve yung partnership nila. So dito naman sa pangalawa, it says here that yung tinutukoy nila dito is yung taong or organization na nagpautang without knowing na malapit na palang mag-dissolve yung partnership. So, ito yun, yung unextended credit to the partnership prior to the dissolution that had no knowledge or notice of the dissolution. So ito nga, yung tumatong is yung lender or yung nagpautang sa kanila na hindi nila alam na yung palang pinutangan nila ng partnership or yung agreement na yun is malapit na mag-resolve. So, ano siya, innocent siya dito yung lender. So, he had not extended credit, had nevertheless satisfied out a partnership asset alone when such partner had been prior to the resolution. So I know this partner to the person with whom the contract is made, and so far, the unknown inactive in a partnership appears that the business reputation of the partnership could not be said to have in any degree due to its connection with it. The partnership is no case bound by any act of partner after dissolution, where the partnership is dissolved because it is unlawful for carrying on business unless the act is appropriate for winding up partnership affairs or kapaloob dito sa second paragraph is yung condition lang naman na satisfy nila yung partnership asset alone lang at hindi pwede ipatuloy pero kapag hindi nila satisfy ito, pwede pang mahabol yung ibang property assets like yung mga personal properties of partners. So ayun nga, in this paragraph, limited lang yung pwedeng habulin na properties pag nag-dissolve ang isang partnership. That is the type of pwede kang mag-dissolve. Ilan naman yung sa second paragraph. And then, ang next paragraph is yung sa pangalawa, where the partnership has become insolvent, or ang ibig sabihin ng insolvent is yung parang na-bankrupt lang yung partnership or yung business natin. When the partner has no authority to wind out partnership except by the transaction with one had extended credit to the partnership prior to the dissolution and had no knowledge or notice of this one of the parties. So yun kayo nabanggit ko kanina, yung parang wala siyang alam, yung may rights lang na mag-wind up is yung vendors yung walang alam na malapit lang yung solve ng isang partnership. Then, had not extended credit to the partnership prior to the dissolution and having no knowledge and notice of his want of authority. The fact of his want of authority has not been advertised in the manner provided for advertising the fact of dissolution in the first paragraph number 2. So, take note lang that nothing in this article shall affect the liability under the Article 1825 of any person who after dissolution represent himself or consent to another representative, him as a partner in partnership engaged in their business. So let's proceed to the Article 1835, which is the dissolution of the partnership that does not or itself discharge the existing liability of any partner. So, ang sinasabi dito is kapag nag-dissolve ang partnership or may mga liabilities or obligation pa ang kailangan na munang isettle, eh hindi pwedeng mag-diminish or hindi pwedeng makatakas yung partners dun sa liabilities. In this article, kapaloob nila dapat magkaroon ng agreement between the lenders or the partners kung paano nila isi-settle yung mga obligations ngayon. So, the partnership is discharged from any existing liability upon the dissolution of the partnership by an agreement to the effect between himself, the partnership creditor, and the person or partnership continuing the business. And such agreement by inferred from the course of dealing between the creditor having knowledge of the dissolution and the person or partnership continuing the business. So, yun tayo nasabi ko kanina. And then, the individual property of his partner shall be liable for the obligation of the partnership incurred while he was a partner, but subject to the prior payment of his separate debt. So, summary, this article only means that as long as may mga liabilities and obligations pa na kailangan i-settle yung partners, hindi sila totally pwedeng makatakas kahit pag-dissolve nila yung partnership nila. Kailangan nyo na lang i-settle yun before mag-proceed. So, next is the Article 1836. So, unless otherwise agreed, the partners who have not wrongly dissolved the partnership or the legal representative of the last surviving partners not insolvent has the right to wind up the partnership affairs, provided, however, that any partner, his legal representative, or yung letters ng ano, na tungkol sa kanila. Next is yung ano, yung manners of by that. So yung judicially and extrajudicially. Nabanggit na rin sa sa previous articles na ito na explain dito. And the control and direction of the proper court upon cause shown by any partner, his legal representative or assailant. So sa judicially, usually nangyayari yan kapag hindi nagkakasundo-sundo ang mga partners, hindi sila nagkakaroon ng agreement na gagawin yung wind up ng partnership affairs. At para ma-settle yun, usually, konti na yung nag-settle or mag-decision para magkaroon ng agreement. Para idadaan siya sa korte. Kaano naman siya dito sa sunod, yung extrajudicial by a partner himself without intervention of the court. So parang opposite lang siya ng judicially. So kung sa judicially is pwede ma-involve or talagang may involve ang korte kapag nagkaroon ng mix-up or nagka-problema. Sa extrajudicially naman, opposite siya. Judicially kapag nagkaroon ng maayos ang higit ng partners, hindi na kailangan ang mapunta sa korte. So the nature of action for liquidation. An action for liquidation partnership is a personal one. Hence, it may be brought in the case of residents of either the relative of the defendant. So, ito yung persons authorized to write out. Yung para binigyan sila ng rights para pagpatuloy yung pagpatuloy. First is those partners designated by agreement. Yung parang, before, yung bago pa lang magpanahan ng kontrata or ano, nakakalaw na doon, itong tao na ito, yung magpapatuloy. Next is the absence of such agreement. All the partners who have not only dissolved the partnership or the legal representative, ang example is yung executive or administrator of the last surviving partner, when all the partners are already dead but not dissolved. Then yung third appointed receiver. So ito yung survivor's right and judicially. That when a member or a partnership dies, the duty of liquidation is its affairs devolves upon the surviving members of a firm, not upon the legal representative of the deceased partner. The latter has no right to interfere as long as the surviving partner is in good faith. So ito yung power ng dictating partner. Meron siyang right na makagawa ng contract, makapag-raise ng pera, raise money to pay partnership debts, and to incur obligation to complete the existing contracts or to serve as a partnership assets. And also, pwede siya mag-incur expenses necessarily in the conduct of litigation. Then, kasi tayo sa Article 1837. So, when the dissolution is caused in any way, except the contravention of the partnership agreement, each partner as against his co-partner and all persons living who them in respect of their interest in the partnership unless otherwise agreed, may have the partnership property applied in the discharge its certificate, and the surplus applied to the paid in cash, the net amount owing to the respective partners. But the dissolution is caused by expulsion of partner qualified under the partnership agreement, and if the expelled partner is discharged from the partnership liabilities, either by payment or agreement under the second paragraph of the 1835, Article 1835, he shall receive the punishment on the net amount from his. So basically, I will point out kapag dito, so ano yung dapat natin malaman ng concept kapag yung dissolution is caused by without the contravention with the partnership agreement. When the dissolution is caused in contravention of the partnership agreement, the right of the partners shall be who will occur, or pay to any partner who has caused the dissolution wrongly, the value of his interest in the partnership is the dissolution, loss and damages recoverable under the second paragraph, number 1 of this article, and in like manner in the him against all the present, or the future partnership. So a partner who was caused the dissolution wrongly shall have, first, if the business is not continued under the provision of the second paragraph, number 2, all the rights of a partner under the first paragraph, subject to liability for damage in the second paragraph, number 1b of this article. Second is, if the business is continued under the second paragraph, number 2 of this article, the rights as against his partners and all claiming to them in respect of their interest in the partnership, who have the value of his interest in the partnership, lest any damage caused to his co-partners by the dissolution, asserted and paid to his cap, to him in cash, or payment secured with the bond approved by the court, and to be released from all existing liabilities of the partnership, but in ascertaining the value of the partners' interest, the value of the goodwill rather, of the business shall not be considered. So the next article is 1838, which will be discussed in the next episode. So next article is 1838, where a partnership contract is rescinded on the ground of the fraud or misrepresentation of one of the parties thereto. The party is entitled to rescind this without prejudice to any other right. So this article po, right siya na kapag yung partnership ay parang napasawalang bisa siya dahil sa pandaraya. So ito yung magiging right ng madaya sa isang partnership. First is to alien on or right of retention of the surplus of the partnership property after satisfying the partnership liabilities to third person for any sum of money paid by him for the purchase of an interest in the partnership and for any capital or advance contributed by him. So yung first law na magiging karapatan niya is pwede niya mapanatili yung mga sobrang property sa partnership. Pwede niya yung gamitin kumbaga pambayad sa pambayad sa ginawa niyang puhunan or para mabawi yung mga pinautang niya. So next is to stand after all liabilities to third persons have been satisfied in the case of creditors of the partnership for any payments made by him in respect of the partnership liabilities. Ito daw kung karapatan na ito, after niya mabayaran yung mga utang ng partnership niya, kapag tapos niya kung bayaran yun, pwede niya kung singilin yung kapartner niya na siya ang utang sa mga binayaran niya. Last po is to be identified by the person guilty of fraud or making the representation against all debts and liabilities of the partnership. Dito po meron siyang karapatan na hindi bayaran yung mga naging utang ng kanyang partner at meron siyang karapatan na magbayad lang ay yung partner. Next is Article 1839. In settling accounts with the partners after dissolution, the following rules shall be observed subject to any agreement with both parties. Kung yung partnership nito ay resolved na, ganito yung pagkakasunod-sunod sa pag-settle ng account. Then, first is the assets of the partnership are the partnership property. Next, sunod ay the contributions of the partners necessary for the payment of all the liabilities specified in number 2. And sila yung mga liabilities niya. The liabilities of the partnership shall rank in order of payment as follows. Kung meron na utang yung partnership nyo, bago mag-dissolve, ito yung pagkakasya ng gusto nilang pagbayad. First is those owing creditors other than partners. Kung na nyo babayaran ay yung mga tao sa company, pero hindi kasama sa partnership nyo. Then next is those owing partners other than for capital and profit. Sunod nyo babayaran ay yung utang nyo sa mga partnership nyo, pero hindi pa doon kasama yung capital nila and profits. Sunod na dito, those owing partners proceeding number. Yun daw kung inassign ng court na mag-contribute yung yun lang daw yung may karapatan para isagawa yung contribution. Then next is, any partner or his legal representative shall have the right to enforce the contribution specified in number 4 to the extent of the amount which he has paid in excess of his share of the liability. Next is the individual property of a deceased partner shall be liable for the contribution specified in number 4. Yun po, kung meron daw kayo na nasa partnership na namatay, yung assets niya, pwede daw itong bayad dito sa number 4, which the partner shall contribute as provided by Article 797. Yeah. The next is, when partnership property and the individual properties of the partners are in possession of a court for distribution, partnership creditors shall have priority on partnership property and separate creditors on individual property, saving to the rights of or secured creditors. Kung yung inyo daw pong assets ay hawak ng court, kung daw pong babayaran ay yung utang ng partnership nyo, then next is yung utang nyo na para pag sarili, babayaran siya gamit ng assets nyo, yung sarili nyong assets. Then last is, where a partner has become insolvent or his state is insolvent, the claims against his separate property shall rank in the following order. Ito daw po yung mga sunod-sunod. Una is those owing to separate creditors. Next is those owing to partnership creditors. And last is those owing to partners by way of contribution. Next is Article 84. In the following cases, creditors of the dissolved partnership are also creditors of the person or partnership continuing business. First is, when any new partner is admitted into an existing partnership, or when any partner retires and assigns, or the representative of the deceased partner assigns his rights in partnership property to two or more of the partners, or to one or more of the partners and one or more third persons, if the business is continued without liquidation of the partnership affairs. Next is, when all but one partner retires and assigns, or the representative of a deceased partner assigns their rights in partnership property to his remaining partner, who continues the business without limitation of partnership affairs, either alone or with others. Next is, when any partner retires or dies and the business of the dissolved partnership is continued as set forth in number 1 and 2 of this article, with the consent of the retired partners or the representative of the deceased partner, but without any assignment of his right in partnership property. Next, when all the partners or the representatives assign their rights in partnership property to one or more third persons who promise to pay the debt and who continue the business of the dissolved partnership. And last, when any partner wrongfully causes a dissolution and the remaining partners continue the business under the provisions of Article 1837, second paragraph of it, either alone or with others and without liquidation of the partnership affairs. Article 1841. When any partner retires or dies, and the business is continued under any of the conditions set forth in the preceding article or in Article 1837, second paragraph number 2, without any settlement of accounts between him or his state and the person or partnership continuing the business, unless otherwise agreed, he or his legal representative as against such person or partnership may have the value of his interest at the date of dissolution ascertained, and shall receive as an ordinary creditor an amount equal to the value of his interest in the dissolved partnership with interest, or at his option or at the option of his legal representative. Interest. The profits attributable to the use of his right in the property of the dissolved partnership, provided that the creditors of the dissolved partnership as against the separate creditors, or the representative divorce or die, and the business is continued without any settlement of accounts. Kung how the value of this interest at the date of dissolution is certain. May karapatan daw po yung legal representative nyo na malaman yung mga kung value ng kanilang interest after ng dissolution date ng kanilang partnership. Next is to receive as an ordinary creditor an amount equal to the value of his interest in the dissolved partnership with interest, or at his option or at the option of his legal representative. In lieu of interest, the profits attributable to the use of his right in the property of the dissolved partnership. Meron daw po ditong dalawang choice. First choice is yan nga po, makuha na yung kanyang na equal sa kanyang interest. Then yung pangalawang option naman nga po, sa halip na yung interest na lang ang anuhin niya, kukuha niya, yun na lang po ng kita ng business, since patuloy na lang po siyang yung business na po is parang tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pag-process niya. Article 1842. The right to account of his interest shall accrue to any partner or his legal representative as against the meeting up partners or the surviving partners or the person or partnership continuing the business at the date of dissolution in the absence of any agreement to the contrary. Who has the right on account of his interest? The right to on account of his interest shall accrue to any partner or his legal representative. Next is who has an obligation to render an account. The meeting of partners, surviving partners, or the person or partnership continuing the business.
So that concludes the discussion about the chapter 3 of the partnership, dissolution, and winding up. I'm hoping na may nakakuha kayong knowledge and insight regarding these chapters. Kami ang reporter this chapter, and later on na-proceed tayo sa discussion naman about sa chapter 4. Again, my name is Carl Gabriel, and together with other presenters.
I'm Nicole J. Viva. I'm Christine San Agustin.
And thank you so much for listening. Thank you.